Admit it, your shop's probably full of these, and they're so comfortable to sit on. Let's get real. The foam disappears in about 2.5 seconds, and it's uncomfortable out of the gate, as well as typically pretty flimsy, and usually it's only about a week before one of the casters gives out. So let's get rid of this. These are just a couple of stools from a company called Freddy, where they fabricate all the parts and pieces to these stools. Let's dive in and take a closer look. We've got two big boxes here from Freddy. Now, Freddy sounds like a friend I had in high school. Anyway, Freddy is actually from our friends up north from Canada, and they make some really, really cool stuff. Let's dig into these boxes and see what we got. Thanks to UPS, not much cutting to do in these boxes here. Some shipping labels. First, a very well fabricated rolling plate of some sort. Nice wheels. Like my rollerblades from the day. Oh, this is awesome. Check out that leather. Very nice. Oh, looking forward to this. By the way, make sure all of your parts are removed from the cardboard packaging. By the way, very cool packaging. Looks like all recyclable stuff and keeps it nice and protected as well. Okay, now I know what this is. This is the Freddy Lowboy chair. Now, let me just tell you out of the gate, I have no idea how they are fabricating all these and providing this type of quality for the price that they're asking for these. I'll just tell you out of the gate, usually I keep pricing till the end. And obviously, depending on how you configure this, but for the base lowboy, which is the leather, the casters, and all the pieces here, other than maybe probably some of the accessories that we'll go over, $186, and you do pay some shipping, but still, for this level of fabrication, I really don't know how it's being done. Anyway, so each one of these pieces, as you pull them out, by the way, each of the screws that go with them are taped to them, so I'm assuming that the screws may be a little bit different, being the ones taped to them. And then there's some additional screws as well that look like all the same. I think all of them are like 4mm hex head or 4mm Allen head screws on each one of these. I'm hoping so anyway. So to put it together should be pretty simple. And again, like here's some other more special ones that came taped with the big washers and lock washers and still look like a 4mm head, but that came specifically taped to this, so I'll keep those screws there. I didn't find any instructions. However, I just ripped it out of there and didn't really look. I'm sure somewhere on the site there's instructions. Just wanted to go over two things that were in there other than the packing stuff. This box isn't winning any beauty contests, but it's eco-friendly and designed to protect your product without adding unnecessary waste. Like a little simple message in there, just kind of let you know that, which we kind of already identified that when we pulled it out of there. And then if you love this product, leave a Google review. Great. Anyway, I did want to mention with that, so when you do have that shredded cardboard that it uses, by the way, it packs very nicely and keeps everything protected. You will have a little cardboard dust on here, but nothing a blower or wiping it down with a cloth won't take care of. But just wanted to share that with you. No bad thing whatsoever, but you do, again, get a little bit of residual dust. That's not just our shop dust in here. That's just from the packaging there. But very quality stuff, very thick stuff. Not quite a 1/4 inch at all, but definitely thicker than an 1/8 inch. I'm sure it's in metric. Let's get this thing started. I think I can figure out how to put this together. And yeah, let's go ahead and make sure that we take care of this awesome leather. Man, I'm really looking forward to that. I love that kind of rawhide look, tanned leather there. By the way, if you're not sure what this is, I'm looking forward to this. You can see, obviously it mounts somewhere on that stool. That's going to be very handy to have when working around the car lift, working around a vehicle. Very handy. Again, the quality continues here. All of the holes are not only pre-drilled, but also already threaded. So just the fabrication really looks top notch here. And I can tell that basically each one of these diagonally goes to each diagonal corner there, and uses 2 screws to go in each one of these legs, if you will, or standoffs for the actual seat cushion. And then you have 4 pre-drilled and tapped holes on each side as well. And that's where each of your accessories are going to go, or going to mount to. So that one can go where you want it to. This one can go where you want it to. So pretty cool thinking and throughput on just identifying, hey, let's make this pretty standard, and then add the accessories you want, and they all kind of go on the same way. I'm going to use my favorite assembly tool that they don't make anymore. And again, 4mm head on that Allen screw or hex screw, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I'm being very careful on getting those started there. I'm not going to get these tight yet. Leave them a little loose so that when we connect it to the base, we'll have some wiggle room. And by the way, 2 of these standoffs have some labels on there, so maybe you want to keep those offset from one another. That's what I'm going to do. And by the way, one thing, again, looking at the fabrication of this, you see we have some obvious rigidity built in by the breaking of the steel there, but the steel carries all the way out, and that little dido right there, that actually sits over the nut that sticks up from the base over here. So again, thinking of everything, not just cutting that off, but leaving some steel there to add some additional bracing and carry some weight, but going ahead and missing the nut and bolt that sticks up. And by the way, they don't just connect to the base here. I'll show you something else that's going to add some more stability here in one moment. And by the way, if you want to hand crank these, you absolutely can. Get you a 4mm T handle, give you some standoff there. You can not use a power tool and use your hand tools. Totally up to you. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, not only do we have the screws that are going in right here, but also, like I said, I left these a little wobbly, a little loose. Right here are through holes on this plate, but this plate is threaded. So on this side, you got the thread, so we're going to put screws through here, which again is going to give additional bracing. A little more standoff on my palm impact driver there. Again, I'd leave a little tightening for the end. Get all these started. Okay, so that's actually adding a lot of stability there. I don't have all of them really tight yet. Again, I wanted to leave a little bit still when we add it to the base. Let's get our accessories put on here. And go ahead and tighten these. Actually, I just realized did this all wrong. The reason these are so long and then last, our magnet. Okay, I'm not going to lie here. This may require a little patience here because I'm realizing with this low boy, we don't have a lot of space in here. And with all these accessories already on here, this may try a little bit of our patience getting all these screws lined up. And this thing don't weigh just a little bit. And by the way, fabrication tolerances are quite tight, which is a good thing. You can see here I've got 3 corners in, trying to get my, and again, I could be going about this all wrong, but I don't think so. There we go. A little persuasion from a rubber hammer. Sits it right down where it needs to be. Man, this thing just really looks good. By the way, this is nice thick. Looks like 3-inch dense foam. So something you're not just going to hit the bottom as soon as you sit on it. Nice and firm. And man, that gorgeous leather. Loving that look. And like I said, this may test your patience a little bit. Looks like all our holes are lining up, however. Looks like I can get to the outside one, maybe. Okay, I've got all these hand tight on the inner ones right there, and yeah, you probably need to take a hex wrench and you know, get in there and kind of do a quarter turn at a time. However, you're not stopping me with my power tools. Little 90 degree. There, this is the DeWalt one, but I mean, there's all sorts of them. In fact, I may even leave a link in the description for you. Then, all you have to do, get this in there like that. Oh yeah. That makes life much easier. And even the ones tucked away in here. Yeah, I got you. Now that those are done, we don't want to miss getting those in here all tightened up. And no, I didn't forget about these either. And by the way, an extension with the 90 degree gets back in there. No problem. And yes, even the one here. And so here we are. The lowboy chair from Fast Freddy is complete. By the way, I think I've got this one correct. But anyway, all our accessories on each one of the sides. Again, I just can't get over that leather. Really like it. Very smooth operation with the rollerblade wheels. Going to have no problem with zip ties or little pebbles in the shop at all rolling over those. Got all the screws nice and tight, and just love the fabrication quality of all of this and how tight it fits together. I also love their little logo here, Fast Freddy design, and then this 24/12/11. I'm assuming maybe that's the build date. Born on date, if you will. So I'm assuming maybe December 11th, 2024, maybe, with the Fast Freddy logo. So really cool looking lowboy chair. Going to be excellent for working around the shop. Okay, now we've got box number 2 from Fast Freddy. Hey, look at there. There's some instructions. I bet my last one had it in there too, and I bet I probably burnt them. Okay, going off of the lowboy chair, same thing with the larger stool here. This has got to be some type of born on date, so December 9th, 2024, the Fast Freddy logo. Fast Freddy logo there. Very high quality base, again, just like the other one, except for now we have 5 of the large casters, which, by the way, those look like 3.5, 4-inch casters maybe? Probably 4-inch. We'll measure those here in a moment. But very easy to roll. Very thick plating here, and and by the way, all this looks like tab and slot design. Maybe not. I thought I saw some tab and slots, but maybe not. Maybe just stamped sheet metal, thick sheet metal, and then ready to bolt together. But caster's already in place, and very solid unit. Looks like little set screws here, already in place that I'm assuming. And by the way, I mentioned we get instructions on this one. Sweet. And by the way, also, as I said, I'm sure I threw away the other instructions, but it looks pretty simple here, starting with 1, remove all contents from box. Check, we did that. Install the post. By the way, I think this one's going to be easier just because it's larger to put together than the smaller one. Yeah, the set screws, 1/8" Allen key. Look at adjustment tube while pulling uppers, replace lever adjustment tube, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, let's get started. But again, let's finish going over. So nice, thick, solid fabricated base. And by the way, you can choose the leather that you want on here. So the other, kind of the rawhide look, which I love, looks great. Or in this case, we've got a nice, that's either black or a charcoal gray leather. I think that's black leather. And then looks like some greenish, yellowish stitching. It's definitely not white, but again, the double stitching there, love that. I grew up in a trim shop, so that's quality stuff. It's not just a hidden seam that's easy to sew and be done. You can have a double stitch here that looks really well and holds really well. Also, got all our screws taped to the appropriate pieces. So love that leather look and that leather feel. And again, nice firm, dense foam there, 3-inch foam to hold your bottom for a while. You don't just sit down and sit on the steel plate right away. All their accessories look identical to the other ones, which I'm sure they are, so we won't go over that. And so let's get this thing together. So we'll set our tube in here. And then all we're going to do is lock these 1/8" fasteners down. Not going to use a power tool on these. Don't want to strip them out. Just want to get them nice and snug so it bites in and doesn't pull out of there. Here we go. And don't miss the fact that you've got a threaded hole right here, and that's where this larger set screw is going to go in there. And by the way, there's a Allen head or a hex head fastener inside of the nut. So we're just going to start that, and that's basically going to be a big set screw for this as it slides in there. And this is where you may want to identify your instructions and look at where it talks about installing this. It says locate the adjustment tube while pulling the lever upwards. Place the adjustment tube into the lower tube. Be sure to align the slot on the adjustment tube with the hole on the lower tube as shown. So this right here, as we just put in there, let's take that out and take a look. You can see it's kind of got a step down there that's going to ride in this slot right here. So yes, you can tighten it down, but as you raise it up, it doesn't spin. It's just going to raise up and down on that slot right there. And no, it can't be sticking out because we've got to get it down past here before it can stick out in there. Even that thing there up, and it says to okay, so it says basically install this first and put this all the way down, and then align this to make sure it's in the slot. And it says set it all the way in. So there we go. So tighten it all the way down, back at a 1/4 turn, tighten the lock nut, and you should be able to still raise this up and down, but it should lock from actually coming out. Again, make sure that's nice and snug, and that should be all you have to worry about that. Then we're going to lay a microfiber towel down, and we're going to take our cushion, lay it upside down. Now let's look at something on this cushion. Now you notice right away this is kind of set up in quadrants here, so we kind of have 1, 2, 3, 4, or however you want to number those. However, the seat post connects, or the seat base connects with 5 different screws. So this is going to matter because the lever to actually raise it and lower it needs to sit off of a diagonal from wherever you put your backrest. So this one will have a backrest, so you can determine where you're going to put your backrest and where you're going to put your different accessories. So you have 3 places for accessories and the place for the backrest. And then you have to determine again, where do you want that raise and lower lever put on it. And you definitely want that, again, diagonal. You don't want it where it's going to actually meet one of your accessories or in line with the backrest. So make that determination, but let's get this seat installed. And by the way, if you have less than 3 additional accessories, you can really mount this wherever you want to because the lever is not going to come in contact with anything other than possibly the backrest. I'm going to go ahead and mount the backrest right here. And then we'll actually get the base put on. And by the way, you want to mount it on the back 4 holes, not the front 2 holes. And by the way, I like it off to my right side. Typically is what my office chairs are like, so I think that's where I would probably find this thing. And by the way, don't squish your hand, because this base is very heavy. I would recommend loosen this set screw here, tighten it down, and then if this is hit, it's not sliding down on you, okay? Because this is very heavy, and if it comes down while you're doing this, which it did on me, kind of pushed the impact, didn't get hurt or anything, but just lock that down, then you can loosen it up and set it like it's supposed to be. But now you can put on your accessories, and this thing's not going to come slamming down on you. Or you could have put your accessories on first before putting on the actual seat. Okay, now I'm going to readjust this. So loosen quarter turn. Tighten the lock nut. And that should, yep. And now all that's left to do is to mount the backrest. Looks like you can mount this low, mount it high as well. We'll mount it high. And here we have it. This is the Speed Pro Hex chair. 5 4-inch casters, nice 3-inch dense foam, good backrest on this as well. Additional accessories you can have on here. The magnet here I've got mounted on the front, screwdriver holder over here, and then cup holder / screwdriver holder, impact wrench holder, you name it. However you want to use this, you can. A nice solid backrest, nice solid base. And by the way, it's not a hydraulic cylinder here. Raise it up, mechanical connection there that locks that into place. So very solid built unit from Fast Freddy. Again, this is the Speed Pro Hex. And we'll get the low boy in here as well. Man, I really like the look of that rawhide. Listen, the black leather looks great too, but I think there's just something said about that. Now, at the same time, this may be something you want in your living room, not doing mechanic work, but maybe detailers, things like that aren't going to get that dirty. Or, you know what, it's a shop chair, get it dirty. But great places to hold everything, great accessories to add onto this. I love the fact that it rolls around really easy with those casters. Love the magnet here. That's going to be very handy to just throw wrenches on there. Whatever it is you need to do, you can throw on there. And then again, hang your screwdrivers and everything else off the side of there as well. So great solid units from Fast Freddy. Was looking forward to getting these in the shop, and quite frankly, just have not been let down whatsoever. I would recommend something to take into account when you're putting together a chair. Take into consideration your back seam here. That should be on the back of the unit. I should have taken more precaution, or maybe not precaution, but opened my eyes to realize, you know what, put that seam back here on the back with the backrest. So I'll probably flip those two around or flip the whole thing around, but just take that into account when you're putting it together. Take that seam and hide it away back here. Even though it's a nice solid look, it just looks stupid. It's not in the right place. I should know better. Growing up in a trim shop, my dad being an upholsterer, I know better than to have that visible. It should be in the least conspicuous place possible, which would have been back here, hidden by the backrest. So sorry about that, Fast Freddy. Kind of let you down there. And just so you know, I didn't let it slide. Now the seam is back here on the backrest, where it should be. And by the way, I had to rearrange all the accessories because once I moved the backrest, then that changed the lever, and then that changed where the magnet was, and I had this sticking out the front, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but just, again, after a few minutes, put the seam back there where it needs to be, hidden behind the backrest. Awesome looking chair. So out of the gate, the low boy is going to cost you somewhere around 180 bucks, and the taller one is going to cost somewhere around $350. Now, as you add accessories, the accessories are typically somewhere between 20 bucks and 40 bucks, and you can get things like the cup holder, like the tool holder, the magnetic holder. I think the magnetic holder is the most expensive one, $45, $47, something like that. So you may be all in for a stool once you build it out and everything for around $500. And then flat rate shipping anywhere in the U.S. is $50. I think anywhere in Canada is $75. But flat rate shipping on that. So you may be in for, $500, $550 to get it actually shipped to you. When you build out your own taller chair, and on the low boy, you're going to be quite a bit cheaper than that. But all very sturdy and very pleasing to the eye fabricated products and leather. By the way, I think I mentioned about the color of this leather stitching. This is actually a yellow Kevlar stitching on this, on the black leather and yellow Kevlar stitching. So that's one of the options you can choose, and you get several different leather options as well as your different accessories and things like that. So check out Fast Freddy. We'll have a link in the description for these, and you can check them out. By the way, they fabricate all kind of other products as well. Be sure to keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. And if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you hated our video, how could you hate these awesome stools? Anyway, let us know in the comments, and have a great day. Keep smiling.